How do we make Painter Servant combo better? That's always the question. And if you're a Legacy player, the answer is typically add blue for Force of Will. Let's go check it out. Let's begin by thanking Andrew Vacon, aka Vash963, for today's donation deck. They're a member of our Combo Cabal tier, and with that tier, you get 1 hour of coaching every single month, but you also get a free donation deck, and Andrew has cashed that in to see Painter Servant combo again. And I say again because a few months ago, and you can find this video in the card above, they submitted a red painter list with the Sewer-veillance camera combo in it, and then they wondered, how can we make this better? What if we add in blue for Force of Will? Well, if you're playing Force of Will, you do need more blue cards. So Force of Will, if you're unfamiliar for some crazy reason, requires you to have blue cards to exile from your hand. So in order to meet that blue count requirement, we're adding in Stock Up, another super powerful card that allows us to dig deep for missing combo pieces. Okay, but that's still not quite the magic 20-ish number of blue cards you need in order to support Force of Will. So we've added in Cryogen Relic over the Melded Moxite from the previous video, just as an additional blue card. The deck is pretty much the same as that previous video, and if you didn't watch it, I'll give you a quick recap. Now with Sewer-veillance Cam, this allows you to go infinite using Goblin Welder. So you want to use Goblin Welder, the Sewer-veillance Cam, and then something like a Mox Opal to create infinite mana, and then later on you can use the Sewer-veillance Camera to draw your entire library. That's the idea. So now not only do you have the Painter Servant plus Grindstone combo, which is a classic, you have this infinite Goblin Welder loop as well, and now it can be backed by a Force of Will in this blue-based list. That's the idea. In the sideboard, we've added in more copies of Disruptor Flute because in the previous video, it felt like our sideboard wasn't super useful. So now we're playing 3 copies of Disruptor Flute. We've moved the main deck Pyroblast into the sideboard because honestly, something had to give for Force of Will, and I think that this just makes sense. And then we're adding in Mindbreak Trap. We had some trouble with combo in that previous league, and now with Leyline of the Void plus Mindbreak Trap, hopefully we've shored that up. That's the deck tech. Andrew, once again, thank you for the donation deck. I hope you all enjoy the video. If you do, like, comment, subscribe, support the channel. I would appreciate that. But for now, we're going to hop on into that first match, and I will see you there. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, early access to videos, exclusive members-only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, sideboard guides, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, like theepicstorm.com/shop or submitting a donation deck via theepicstorm.com/donation decks. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic. Welcome to match number 1. We are on the play with Legacy Izzet Painter. Yeah, this seems great. We'll keep. We'll lead off with a Volcanic Island and then Goblin Welder. They Force of Will, exiling Brazen Borrower. Okay. They have a Wasteland. Well, my hand is full of land, so I don't mind. I think I'm going to just play the Scalding Tarn and pass, and then we'll surveil on their end step. I thought about playing out the Urza Saga and then trying to make constructs. Ooh, and now they have Thoughtseize. So my decision to wait on the Goblin Welder may be slightly punished. We take the other Goblin Welder. We will fetch, grab the Thundering Falls, keep the Agatha Soul Cauldron. We'll play Urza Saga. And now let's attempt a Goblin Engineer. If you opened up on Force Will blue card, Wasteland, Thoughtseize plus Daze, and you did, congratulations. What a hand. Like, you could try to play around Daze there. The odds that our opponent opens up on this stacked 4 cards is pretty unlikely. So I'm going to choose to not play around that. And now I'm going to just try to Urza Saga beat down them. They Brainstorm, sure. Now they play a Flooded Strand. End step, I'll take 2 damage and I'll create a Construct token. 4 cards still in their hand. Cryogen Relic, okay. We'll create another Construct. They're going to fetch now. Okay. And now the search seems to resolve. We'll grab a Skateboard. We'll tap their Underground Sea. They make a black mana. We'll play Urza Saga. And then we're going to attempt to switch phases and force them to use this black mana. Okay. So now I'm going to equip, and we'll attack for 3. They play Flow State. They're really, really digging for another Wasteland for my Urza Saga. And they did not find one. Boom. Okay, Seat of the Synod, a wonderful draw here. We'll create another, excuse me, another construct. And now we'll use the skateboard to equip to the new construct. And now we'll attack for 9. Cowabunga! You're at 4. Our opponent opened up on Force of Will, Wasteland, Thoughtseize, Daze. And it looks like they're going to lose anyway. Sometimes I really love Urza Saga. We'll make another construct. We'll grab a Mox Opal. Play the Arena of Glory. We'll equip the skateboard to the new construct token. And now go to combat. Skateboard is a powerful magic card. Alright, so Dimir Tempo. We probably want Pyroblast. Likely don't need the Soul Guide Lantern. Could probably shave one Egg the Soul Cauldron. I wonder if this is a matchup where I should just board out the Force of Wills. And then like just have a Braids. So that way I can answer Tameo or Null Rod or anything like that. I think I'm interested in this because this is a matchup where it's really just a grind fest. And having Force of Will doesn't really help, in my opinion. Like, yeah, it pushes your spells through, but I'm not sure if that's the game we're trying to play. I will keep. Our opponent with a mulligan to 5. They have a first turn Verdant Catacombs and Tameo Inquisitive Student. We'll play Thundering Falls, get rid of the Cryogen Relic, pass the turn. They play Underground Sea, they attack with the Tameo, and they pass. We'll play Great Furnace. Let's attempt a Goblin Welder. And then Grindstone. They sacrifice the Clue in response. They daze the Grindstone. That's fine with me. We'll pass the turn. They attack with the Tameo Inquisitive Student. No blocks. And now a Brainstorm. This will transform the Tameo. They play Bloodstained Mire. So they had another Underground Sea somewhere. It could be back in their deck or it could still be in their hand. Blue Elemental Blast. Okay. A third Abrade. A little awkward. Admittedly, Force of Will might have been better this game. We'll play Emery Lurker of the Lock. Triple Abrade was not a great draw. Like, it's really a card you want one of, not all 3 in the first, 10 cards. They play a Thoughtseize and see how embarrassing my hand is. They plus the Tameo. And now another Brainstorm. And a Wasteland. Brutal. Okay. Lotus Petal. I'm not sure what good that does me here. I'll play another Emery. Keep the original. Yeah, this is just terrible. I'm going to save myself time. I will concede. I'm going to stick to my guns. I think the theory behind No Force of Will was correct. It's just we ended up with a really clunky draw. And hopefully that doesn't happen again. On the play for game 3. Yeah, this seems great. We'll keep. We'll play Seat of the Synod and pass the turn. They have Underground Sea. We'll play Ancient Tomb into Cryogen Relic. And Grindstone. Pass the turn. They just play a land and pass. We'll play Arena of Glory. Pass the turn. I'm not going to play the stock up into Daze. There's a Bowmasters. I'll go to 16. I'm going to sacrifice the Cryogen Relic here to draw. Maybe I can't. Yeah, it needs a target. Okay, so this will resolve. Now they have a Polluted Delta, 6 cards in their hand. Ouch, I'm at 15. They're searching out Undercity Sewers. They kept a card on top. I will Grindstone them on the end step. Okay. Urza Saga. I suppose I'll play that. I'll go to 11 and let's play Stock Up. Stock Up reveals a Painter Servant. We definitely want that. And then maybe the Emery Lurker of the Lock? No, I think I'm going to take the Volcanic Island, actually. Pass the turn. They play Ponder, Wasteland. So this can eat my Urza Saga, and it does. They swing. Ouch, I'm at 9. 6 cards in their hand. I think I'm going to play out the Volcanic. I could play out the Surveil Land to play out the Scalding Tarn to potentially grab the Surveil Land. I just think that's a mistake. And now I'll play the Painter Servant. They Force of Will, exiling Force of Will. I will Pyroblast, target their Force of Will. They have 4 cards still in their hand. They have Blue Elemental Blast. Okay. Pass the turn. I'm worried about this Orcish Bowmasters killing me. They have 4 cards remaining. I'm going to take a hit here down to 7. They have Surgical Extraction on Painter Servant. Ah, brutal. Also, weird time to do this in combat. Unless you're thinking about putting a Kaito in. I am at 7. A Braid, okay. Let's pass the turn. Ah, another Bowmasters. You're so rude. Okay, so I'm going to abrade one in response, and then we will fetch, grab Volcanic Island, and then I'm going to use the Cryogen Relic on the Orc Army, so it'll stay tapped and I'll draw a card. We draw another land. I go to 5. They play a Flooded Strand, still 2 cards in their hand. Now I draw a Lotus Petal. I'm really running out of time here. We'll play the Scalding Tarn, pass the turn. I'm not really sure what else to do. They fetch with the Flooded Strand. They play Flow State. In their beginning of combat, I'll play the Sewer-veillance cam. We'll tap the Orc Army. Yes. And then I'll play the other Sewer-veillance cam and I'll tap the Orcish Bowmasters. End step I will go to 3 life and we'll grab our Surveil land. Thundering Falls. Goblin Welder is a good one. So I can give it haste with the Arena of Glory, but can I win is the question. We'll use the Arena of Glory Exert, play the Lotus Petal, Goblin Welder. Okay, so let's pretend they have nothing. I think that's the only way I can realistically win this. I'll use Lotus Petal for a blue, and then I will weld out Sewer-veillance cam for Lotus Petal. They have 2 mana, a 3rd Bowmasters. I can respond to this, and I think they're dead. I just need to think about the right way to do this. Pretty sure I can kill them at instant speed. So I'm going to sacrifice the Sewer-veillance cam, and now we'll untap the Goblin Welder. Oh no, I can't win at instant speed because I can't make them draw a card. So I'm actually dead. I can deck them, but then I'm dead to the Bowmasters. So is it even worth clicking for 12 minutes? Because I can deck them, but then I draw a card and I die to the Bowmasters. If I had 1 more life, we'd actually win. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, we can kill them. I can win at instant speed here. So we will weld out Sewer-veillance cam for Lotus Petal. Untap. Yes. Actually, I think it's better to do this with Seat of the Synod. And now we get the Sewer-veillance cam back. Untap. 11 minutes. Alright, now we'll grab the Seat of the Synod again. Untap the Goblin Welder. Alright, so I've clicked a bunch and now I've made 3 mana. And I'll target myself with the Grindstone. I hit a Mox Opal. Okay. And now after clicking a bunch... Oh, I have to weld out the Grindstone again. This is so tedious. I'll target myself. We have to find the Legion Extruder, I think it's called. The one that deals 2. But I did not. And now we'll go through this again. And now I can just start to cycle and make mana again. I don't know if I can actually click fast enough in 8 minutes. This takes forever. I will now target myself again with the Grindstone, hopefully hitting the artifact. Nope. Alright, I've built back up to 3 mana. We'll activate Grindstone again. The opponent asked what the win was, and then said that they'll concede if I could tell them. So I told them, and they did the nice thing and conceded. Thank you to our opponent, Tom Jab, and we have won match number 1. It took me a minute to find the line, but we eventually got there. We are now 1-0 in this Legacy League. Packs.com is the new way to open your favorite cards. It's a site where you open digital packs of trading cards like Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, and One Piece cards, and have the cards you open mailed quickly and securely to you. With a wide range of packs to choose from, such as the latest Magic sets, Kaladesh inventions, or even beta. I'm going to open a beta pack. What's great about Packs.com is you can see all of the cards and their odds of being opened in each pack. Now it's time to open one and see what I get. Come on, Black Lotus! If you don't like what you opened, you could sell it back instantly for more packs, or sell it and pick a specific card from the marketplace over at packs.com/market. If you want to check out packs.com, make sure to click the link in the description of this video and use code STORM5 when making a purchase for 5% extra on your first purchase. It's time for the second match. We're on the draw. This hand seems like a slam dunk. I will keep. They have Polluted Delta, Volcanic Island, Dragon's Rage Channeler. That will resolve. Mishra's excuse me, Mishra's Bauble, and they use the Mishra's Bauble. In our upkeep, they'll draw a card, another Mox Opal. I'll play Seat of the Synod into Grindstone. They daze. I'm going to let this happen. Pass the turn. They have a Volcanic Island and another Channeler. They swing for 3, I'll go to 17. We'll take more damage down to 15. I'll play Agatha's Soul Cauldron. We'll play the Mox Opal that they know about. And I will pass the turn. So my game plan here is that on their turn, I will eat a card that shuts off Delirium for the Channelers. But there's not a good reason to do that before they cast spells. So I'll eat the Mishra's Bauble here, and now I'll take 2 down to 13. Well, before damage, they're going to Surveil again, attempting to hit Delirium. They get rid of a Wasteland, but then they hit a Murktide Regent. So I'll be taking 6 here, down to 6 life, and I'm almost dead. Quite the aggressive start. They fetch, and now a Delver of Secrets, yeah. I likely am not winning this. We'll play the Volcanic Island. I'll go to 4 life, play stock up. This does not win. Okay, we lose game number 1. Once again, I think we want the Pyroblast, and I think we probably want the Abrades. Get rid of Force of Will. Goodbye to the Soul Guide Lantern. We'll get rid of 1 copy of Agatha's Soul Cauldron. And submit. Game number 2, we're on the play. This seems fine, we'll keep. I'm a little worried about Wasteland. Like, this hand loses very hard to a Wasteland, but I don't know. I don't think you're supposed to send this back, is my point. We're going to lead on Scalding Tarn and then grab a Surveil land on their end step. They have Polluted Delta. We will fetch. 19. Thundering Falls. Keep the land. We'll fetch with the Scalding Tarn. Grab a Volcanic Island. And then let's play Cryogen Relic. This is a card our opponent is not going to want to daze because it's barely playable. So the idea is that it's an artifact for the Emery Lurker of the Lock. It cantrips. It's the bare minimum. Like, this card is not legacy playable, I don't think. But it is a blue card for Force of Will, and it fits the theme. I don't even think it's really Pauper playable. I've tried it in, like, the Poison Storm deck there, and it was not good. And now they have a Wasteland. Okay. We'll play Seat of the Synod and Emery Lurker of the Lock. We hit another Cryogen Relic and a Sewer-veillance cam. End step, they kill my Emery Lurker of the Lock. And another Wasteland. Oh, that's brutal. And the Emery milled over 3 lands, too. I might have just been shut out of the game. We'll pass. Wasteland number 3. Cool. Cool. Pass the turn. We will play Mox Opal. They brainstorm in response, and now they're fetching with Polluted Delta, Thundering Falls, and they daze. Pass the turn. They replay the Thundering Falls and cast Ponder. Alright, I've seen enough. I'm going to just go to match number 3. We're not coming back from this spot. Alright, we are now 1-1.
Building a new deck usually means getting hit with a dozen different shipping fees from a dozen different sellers. It adds up fast, and honestly, it's the worst part of buying cards. That's why I switched to Card Trader Zero. You shop their global marketplace, but instead of having every seller ship to you, they ship to Card Trader's hub first. Card Trader then packs everything into a single shipment for you, and it saves a small fortune on shipping fees. This package from Card Trader just arrived. These are 4 dark rituals that came from 4 different sellers, but they all arrived in one envelope, and every card was quality checked by the Card Trader team before it hit my door. Check out the link in the description to try Card Trader Zero's optimizer for yourself. Stop paying for multiple shipments and get just one.
Match number 3, we're on the draw against a supporter of the channel, Circe, who I regularly work with on deck building. They're a member of our Stormtrooper tier. They don't know what I'm playing, but I know what they're probably playing, which is Black Saga Storm. Alright, so I think I'm going to mulligan this. We are playing Force of Will today, but I do not have it. And they kept 7. I think I'll go to 5. The issue is this deck only has 19 blue cards, so even if I do find it, the Force of Will that is, like, I'm not likely to also have the blue card. Now I'm down to 4. Mulligan. Force of Will blue card, let's go. And an Urza Saga? What more could a boy ask for? Oh no, this is a mulligan to 3. Alright, I guess we'll bottom the Volcanic Island and pray to draw Ancient Tomb. Bloodstained Mire. Badlands. I will concede to duress. I'm not going to show them what we're playing. Alright, we definitely want Mindbreak Trap. We want the Leyline of the Void. Disruptor Flute. I could even see an argument for a Braid, although I think that one will be boarded back out. We likely don't need the Legion Extruder. We don't need Phyrexian Dragon Engine. We're at 70 cards. That's a lot. I think you have to keep in Cryogen Relic just for blue count. I'll get rid of the Abrades. Get rid of the Agatha's Soul Cauldrons. I'm just not sure what to actually cut. There's too many cards. Maybe Goblin Engineer? And then maybe board down on Lotus Petal? I don't know. There's just too many things I want. On the play. Sure, I'll keep. I'll put Leyline of the Void onto the battlefield. They do the same. Part of why I wanted to board out Goblin Engineers, I knew that they would be bringing in Leylines. We'll pass. There's a Saga, Chrome Mox, and Prince Dark Ritual. I think I'm supposed to Disruptor Flute on Urza Saga here so I don't lose to it. Okay. I would like one Ancient Tomb off the top. They take the Mindbreak Trap as expected. We draw another Leyline of the Void, not what I wanted. They just draw and pass. We draw an Emery, but that's not even a good card here. And now their Saga is going to the third chapter, which probably grabs Lion's Eye Diamond. It does grab a Lion's Eye Diamond. And they're passing. I really need to draw Ancient Tomb. They play Lotus Petal, play the Mox Opal, pass the turn. No point in playing out an Emery that doesn't do anything. They play Mox Opal. They're passing with 3 cards in hand. Cryogen Relic that I cannot cast. Okay. They now have 4 mana if they have Beseech the Mirror. Looks like I'm dead. They have Peer into the Abyss. That's going to kill me. Yep. I needed better draws. I'll concede to the Peer. I'm not going to click through every spell. Okay, that's a bummer. We are now 1-2. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. They support over 30 formats, including Legacy and many other Eternal formats. There are so many options to view decks the way that you want, from text view to individual cards, mana value, and even card price. There's also light mode and dark mode. My personal favorite feature is card tags. This way you can sort cards by function. Moxfield supports collection tracking, Scryfall search, decklist feedback, and so much more. Follow me on Moxfield.com so you can stay updated on all of my decks. Let's try to bounce back in the 4th match. We're on the draw versus someone who almost exclusively plays Show and Tell combo. Our opponent plays Volcanic Island. We draw Stock Up. I'll play Lotus Petal. And then Grindstone. They have a Spell Pierce. I'm going to let that go. They play Ancient Tomb. Skateboard. Not a very good draw. We'll play it. I feel like this deck is just too mana hungry. Like every game I feel like I'm late on mana. They play another Ancient Tomb. We draw Scalding Tarn. I guess I just play Painter Servant here. They threw the Breach in response. So this just puts an Atraxa into play? Sure. I don't know why. Maybe they were trying to end step it. We'll say black. Pass the turn. Okay, so we're going to allow this to resolve. They play Ancient Tomb. They now activate. It's another Atraxa. Oh no, this was the Atraxa from the Through the Breach. Okay, so I misunderstood. When this entered, it exiled the Atraxa in the graveyard, so they knew they were going to get an Atraxa. I missed that. Okay. Now they swing. Ancient Tomb. We'll play Stock Up. Goblin Welder. And Urza Saga. We'll play the Goblin Welder. Pass the turn. They fetch. Sneak attack. We lose here because we know that they have Emrakul and Force of Will in hand. Yep. And there it is. So we lose game number 1. This has not been a very good league so far. We'll bring in Pyroblast. We probably want Disruptor Flute. We actually have to leave in the Soul Guide Lantern so that way we can beat an Emrakul that would shuffle in their graveyard. I guess the Soul Cauldron does not seem particularly good in this matchup, so we'll get rid of that. We probably don't need the Legion Extruder. I don't really want to play Cryogen Relic, but like, is 16 blue cards too few? Probably. Just like, that card stinks. I'm just going to try 16 blue cards. I know that it's like not the right number, but I'd rather not play bad cards in my deck. Am I really supposed to keep this? I will keep. We'll play Thundering Falls. Get rid of the land. Pass the turn. They have Volcanic Island. Well, we drew a blue card. That's good. We'll play Goblin Engineer. They Hydroblast. I'm fine with that. Ancient Tomb. And now a Disruptor Flute. Are you going to name Urza Saga? They do. We draw another Lotus Petal. I don't think I'm going to win by sitting here, so I think I'm going to play out Emery. I realized that I could have played another Lotus Petal, trust me. It's just going down to 2 cards in hand. I think they might be more likely to jam because they're like, what are the odds it's Force blue card? And I actually don't want the opponent to jam. Also, that was terrible for me. Double Stock Up. And now they play their own Stock Up. They play City of Traders. Goblin Welder. I guess I'll grab Grindstone. We'll play Arena of Glory. And we'll exert the Arena of Glory to play Goblin Welder. They have Force of Will. That's unfortunate. I'll target myself with Grindstone. And I think I'll just attack. They play a Lotus Petal. 4 cards still in their hand. They have Sneak Attack. 3 cards remain. That'll do, Pig. All right, we are now 1-3. I have to say, I have not been impressed with this list so far, but I'll give my thoughts at the end, and hopefully we get half our entry back by winning match number 5. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $15.99. This token combo pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens featuring classic Storm and Mana tokens with new inclusions such as our modern Ruby Storm package, but that's not all. Our token pack covers a variety of formats from Pauper to CDH with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. The final round of this Legacy League on the play. We will attempt it. Urza Saga, pass the turn. I'm going to try and just make sure that the Saga gets the job done. Obviously, I lose to a Wasteland, but hoping that the Force will slow down the opponent enough. And then Ancient Tomb with Saga, obviously, is going to power out the constructs. They have turn 1 Thoughtseize. I'm not going to Force of Will that. They took the Emery Lurker of the Lock. Saga goes to the second chapter. I'll play the Ancient Tomb, play Mox Opal. They play Scrubland. Interesting. Wasn't expecting that. End step, we'll make a construct. We draw for turn and it's an unplayable legacy card. We'll make another construct. Our opponent finally let me have a construct, and now the trigger, they're going to stifle. Do I care about this? I don't think so. We'll play the Volcanic Island and try a Goblin Engineer. They're going to daze the Goblin Engineer. Fine. So this is like a Stifle Knot deck. I think I'm going to Force of Will this. Attack for 3. 2 mana. They play a Quantum Riddler. We draw a Sewer-veillance Cam. I'll play the Phyrexian Dragon Engine and attack for 8. We have the Sewer-veillance Cam to tap down a potential blocker as well. They play Polluted Delta. And the opponent has conceded. Nice. So a lot of these decks tend to play Clarion Conqueror in the sideboard, so we definitely want a Braid. And I think I'm going to try boarding out Cryogen Relic and Force of Will and just leaving more stuff in the deck. We'll bring in Pyroblast and like maybe 1 Disruptor Flute. I don't really want Disruptor Flute. I don't even know what I would name. Maybe 1 Force of Will isn't crazy, or like 1 Cryogen Relic. We'll try this. Game 2 on the draw, we will keep. They lead on a Polluted Delta. We'll play Arena of Glory and pass the turn. They search out an Undercity Sewers. Wasteland. Okay. We'll play Volcanic Island, pass the turn. Another Wasteland. Another Volcanic Island, pass. They now have a Scrubland. They pass. Let's attempt a Grindstone. We'll send the turn back to them. Wasteland number 3. Okay. We will fetch. Am I getting stifled? It would appear so. Okay. We drew another fetch. Little lucky there. We'll grab Thundering Falls. Get rid of the Legion Extruder. We don't want that. They play land number 3. 5 cards still in their hand. And there's Clarion Conqueror. We'll play Urza Saga. I don't want to play into Daze here. Although realistically, I'm never, like, I should just play the Emery. Emery resolves. We will pass. I was trying to think of like, oh, well, if I drew another land, I could back up my Abrade with Pyroblast, but we have 1 land in our deck that does that. Exactly 1. So I don't even think that's realistic. They drew Thoughtseize. That hurts. They take the Pyroblast. Now they're going to fetch with Flooded Strand. Underground Sea, 3 cards still in hand. They Swords to Plowshares my Emery. And now they warp a Quantum Riddler. We drew another Urza Saga. That's actually pretty good. And while they're tapped out, let's make another construct, or make our first construct. Pass. Land number 5, so they can hardcast the Quantum Riddler. And they do. I'll go to 13. Sewer-veillance Cam. We'll make a construct. And then we'll grab Skateboard. I cannot equip, but I can tap down the Quantum Riddler. And then we'll play another Urza Saga. Attack for 4. They play Flow State. They have 6 cards in their hand. 5 after they play this Flooded Strand. That's so many. They exile my Grindstone. That's a weird choice. You have a Clarion Conqueror in play, but okay. Now they attack for 3. I'll go to 10. We draw Painter's Servant. We'll make a construct. They're going to stifle me making a construct. And now consign to memory the 2 triggers. Yep. Okay. Pass the turn. And now they'll swing and put me down to 3. Ancient Tomb. I don't think that's going to do it. So I cannot make a construct here. Looks like they're going to stifle the ability. Another consign to memory. I could get them to 1 if they have no other interaction in hand, but that's just not enough. Like, I could go Ancient Tomb into Sewer-veillance cam, but that is 10 damage and not 11. I suppose I could... No, stock up... There's no card for stock up here that wins. I mean, I can cast it. It just... even if I hit 2 0-mana cards here, it's still not lethal. And they Force of Will, and we lose. Okay. I don't think we want the Legion Extruder or the Cryogen Relic. Is it crazy to just play 2 Force of Wills? I mean, the Dragon Engine seems bad too. Maybe I'll do 1 Soul Cauldron for Force of Will. Try to push through some of my spells. On the play. No red mana. I think I'm going to keep it though. We'll play Seat of the Synod and Grindstone. Pass the turn. They lead on Underground Sea into Thoughtseize. Yep. They take my Painter's Servant. We drew a red source, that's good. I do not have a basic mountain. That was not in the deck list I was provided. We'll play Goblin Welder. Pass the turn. They play Flooded Strand. They search out Tundra. Another copy of Thoughtseize. Takes the Goblin Engineer. Exiles my Goblin Welder. We'll play the Ancient Tomb. Play the Goblin Welder. Might as well play out the Lotus Petal. Pass the turn. Another Swords to Plowshares. Okay. End step, let's Grindstone you. You draw a Braid, I will pass the turn. They surveil away Thoughtseize. And now they warp a Quantum Riddler. This is likely to get the Stifle ability triggered, or the Warp ability stifled, I should say. But they don't. End step, we'll Grindstone them. Okay. Versus Saga. I don't mind that. Pass the turn. They play land number 5. Are you hardcasting a Quantum Riddler here? It would appear so. I will activate the Grindstone. We milled over Flow State. I mean, that's good. There's a Saga to the 2nd chapter. I will play the Arena of Glory. Make the construct now while they're tapped out. And then pass the turn. They play land number 6. Oh no. No, don't do it. Don't do it. It's happening. Wrath of the Skies. It's my entire board. I'm just going to call this one. We went 1-4. That was brutal. That was real rough. So, my honest feedback. So, I'd like to begin by thanking Andrew Vacon, aka Vash963, for the donation deck. I really do appreciate your support. That said, this deck is not viable. No sugarcoating it. I think a lot of people come to me to be honest and get my, my true thoughts. And Force of Will in this deck is a trap. In order to support Force of Will and the correct blue count in order to play, you have to play unplayable, truly awful cards like Cryogen Relic. This card is not even pauper playable, so I don't know why it'd be good enough for Legacy. Force of Will is not worth Cryogen Relic. The cards that we cut to make room for Force of Will were Pyroblast. And I think Pyroblast would have been very good this league. So I'm just not a big fan. I thought the red build of the deck did real well because it was a coherent strategy with things that work together. So Melded Moxite I don't really think is a Legacy playable card either. That said, it puts cards into a zone that we care about, which is the graveyard or Goblin Welder. So it gets cards to the graveyard, like this Phyrexian Dragon Engine that was just truly terrible throughout the league. So I think Melded Moxite not only gets cards in a zone we care about, it also draws 2. So it allows you to get a little bit ahead. And the Cryogen Relic doesn't really do it all that efficiently. So I'm not a big fan there. I don't know if I loved 2 copies of Agatha Soul Cauldron. I think 1 would have been fine. And then a big difference between this league and the last one, the last deck list had Ensnaring Bridge. This deck list does not. Ensnaring Bridge would have been nice in a few spots, but we just didn't have access to it. So ultimately, I think adding blue to your Painter Servant deck is a big mistake, and you shouldn't do it. Mono red seems to be the way to go, and that's what I would recommend. I'm not trying to bash anyone's deck here or make anyone feel bad, but I just don't think that this is the direction that you should be going if you're interested in Painter Servant combo and Legacy. That's all I've got for today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video or at least found something insightful. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, and as always, keep storming. Thanks for checking out today's video. We are sponsored by KMC Sleeves. I use hard perfect fits on every card in my collection. Doesn't matter if it's a deck, a binder, or a box. And then KMC Hyper Phoenix on all of my decks. They're the best way to protect your cards. And if you're interested in getting your own, visit kmcsleeves.com and use code STORM10 at checkout for 10% off.